E-M5 Mark III was launched 2.5 years ago, 2019 in October, I think it was. And is it still worth getting? Because there's a good deal on Olympus site, at least in Europe, where you can get some extra gear when you buy this. So let's check out if this is still worth getting in 2022. Hi, it's Peter here. Now let's start with the disclaimer. The body that I'm using here is from OMDS. The lens that I'm using, or have it on right now, is mine, the 20mm f1.4 Pro lens, which has become one of my favorite lenses. And let's talk about the specifications first. I need to have my notes on because I truly don't remember all of these specifications. I do know that it's a 20 megapixel CMOS sensor and it has Trupic 8 processor, and what's really great is the 5-axis image stabilizer. And it was totally rebuilt for this camera because this is quite small, so it's not the same as the other cameras has, but it is as good as the other Olympus and OM system cameras has. And the feature list is quite big. We have live composite, high-res shot, focus stacking, but of course need to have compatible lenses. And then of course Pro Capture, which is one of the best features on this. So feature-packed camera. And also the video features are really good. I made a video when this was brand new that is this the best vlogging camera there is. And I could say that it actually still could be, even though there are some downsides on it. But as a video camera, it is really great. It has Cinema 4K and regular 4K and all that. And of course, the very good IBIS when you're using video is essential. And also a very good face priority and IAF when using video. So that's one of the biggest advantages of this when we're talking about vlogging camera. The only thing that it doesn't have is the headphone jack. But when we're vlogging, I don't think it's the most important thing because it has the mic input. So that is a lot more important. And let's continue. Yeah, and then about the video bitrate, that is very, very high. It's 237 megabits or whatever, but I'll put the number here and what it is. Sorry, it's always hard with these megabits and megabytes and whatever they are. And then one good thing is about also that it has USB charging, but you cannot use it while you charge it. But you don't need a charger. You can just plug it in the USB cable that came with the camera and use a power bank for charging. And I think that's a really good feature. And let's go to handling and usability. And like I always said, that handling is one of the most important things in a camera, and this one is very good in that. It's quite small. What I've usually used is a hand grip that you can get for this. It's even better. It doesn't have any extra features in the grip except the shutter button. The buttons are laid out really nice, and it has C mode, only one though. I think the usability could be better if it has more customizable settings in the mode dial. Now it has only one. It does have extra ones, but then you have to enable them from the menu and store them there, like you do of course with the mode dial C here too. And since it is a quite good video camera, it has an articulating screen. I've always said that, you know, here you can see the articulating screen. This is good. And I've always said that, you know, using a tilting screen for photography is a lot better, but there are few advantages for photography too. If you want to have a camera this way, then it's easier to take an image from here or upwards, which you cannot really do that well if it's a tilting screen. So there are some advantages for photography too with the articulating screen. And then let's talk about the customizability. I already talked about the mode dial and the C mode or the custom mode that you can store here. There are a lot of customizable buttons, and that's really a powerhouse when it comes to customizability. You can customize it to all your likings, and it even have an FN lever which you can double the customizability. And the good thing is that you can customize it to your likings. I have my way, and then for my shooting, and you might have a bit different, depends on what you're shooting and what you're doing with the camera. But the most important thing is that it is customizable, and it also has two dials so that it's easy to have the exposure compensation on the back wheel, like I've set it. And then of course the front wheel is for aperture or shutter speed. It depends on what shooting mode I'm using. Like you probably know and see from my previous videos that I've used aperture priority the most. When this was launched, there was a few controversial things. One was the material, because it's not the same material than the previous cameras. I remember saying on my video that it was made out of plastic, which is, well, practically wrong because it's a composite and some metal parts. So there's nothing to be concerned about the material on this camera. It feels really premium. It looks good, so no problem with that. And it is very durable, so no problem with that. And a few things about the features too, that there is not as many custom settings that you can set to your mode dial, like you can do it with E-M5 Mark II. You could customize these, let's say you don't use the art modes at all, you can customize it to be C2, for example. And that's something that this camera does not have, which I think is not the best solution Olympus made back then. I think they should have included that possibility to store more to the mode dial. I think it's a very handy way, because we use these cameras on different scenarios. You might have a RAW settings, and you might have a JPEG settings, you might have settings for Pro Capture, and it could be good to access them quickly. I think that's something that could be possibly fixed with firmware. And speaking of firmware, this camera hasn't gotten that many firmware upgrades. It's 1.6, and most of the firmware upgrades has been about compatibility with new lenses and focus stacking. So no really big amount of features. Well, on the other hand, it already had from 1.0, which I'm using right now, it already had quite a few amount of features already. So maybe it doesn't need any more. And then compared to the older model, if you're interested in, there's a video over there you might want to watch if you are interested in what are the differences between E-M5 Mark II and E-M5 Mark III. Then the image quality. It is a bit better than E-M5 Mark II, but not significantly better. It's more megapixels and a newer processor, so that counts a bit. It's a bit better in low light. But compared to E-M1 Mark III, for example, not much difference. And that's a good thing. I've been really happy. And to be honest, if I wasn't doing professional photography, I could get along with this combo. No problem with that. I could use just this combination and be totally happy and could do 99% of my photography. So I wouldn't lose that much. What about the price? You can still buy this as new. The body and of course the lens, because the lens is new. And the price is a little over €1,000/$, which is not that much for this feature-packed, small, compact camera. And if you want to get it used, you can go all the way down to 500. I've seen prices for that, so that's even better deal if it's in good condition and it hasn't been used that much. But there is a deal right now going on, at least in Europe, and check the Olympus website to see in which countries it's available. If you're getting this with different lenses or just the body, you can get 45mm f1.8 and extra battery for free. And I think the deal is on until July 31st, and then by August 14th you need to send your receipts and to get that extra lens for free. And I think that's a good deal, because the 45mm lens is just a great lens for portraiture, for example, and for any occasion you need a small and compact telephoto lens. And I think it's a good deal. And all in all, when I've used this camera quite a bit, as you've probably seen some different images that I made that I've been showing while I've been talking. And like I said, I could be totally happy with this combination. Maybe an extra portrait lens like that 45mm f1.8 could be perfect for this combination. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and here is a link to that video that I mentioned where I compare this to the E-M5 Mark II. But hey, thanks for watching and bye for now.